करने वाले होते हैं कौन, मेरे में आकड़ है या नहीं। शक्ल छोटा लेकिन छोटी, मेरा एम स्ट्रॉन्ग भाई, आपका यहीं खड़ा बाकी सारे बाइगोन। बनना चाहता अच्छा इंसान लेकिन मेरी टेक्निकलिटीज ने मुझे बना दिया साइबोर्ग। मेरी हर एक बंदी मुझे बोले बेहिसाब था मैं शायद तभी बनना चाहता वाइज और बनना चाहता अच्छा इंसान लेकिन मेरी टेक्निकलिटीज ने मुझे बना दिया साइबोर्ग। शक्ल छोटा लेकिन छोटे, मेरा एम स्ट्रॉन्ग भाई, आपका यहीं खड़ा बाकी सारे बाइगोन। बनना चाहता अच्छा इंसान लेकिन मेरी टेक्निकलिटीज ने मुझे बना दिया साइबोर्ग। मेरी हर एक बंदी मुझे बोले बेहिसाब था मैं शायद तभी बनना चाहता वाइज और बनना चाहता अच्छा इंसान लेकिन मेरी टेक्निकलिटीज ने मुझे बना दिया साइबोर्ग। बना दिया साइबोर्ग, 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 तेरे लिए आइकॉन बना दिया। छोटे मुझे भाई बोल बना दिया। क्या मैं जो बोलता वो सुनते हो तुम? क्या मेरी तरह तुम भी रहते हो गुम? मेरी तरह क्या तुम सहते हो? ये सारे कहना हूँ चाहते पर रहते हो चुप रहा करता खुद को खुद से सुन ले जान ले। वाह ये करते मुझको शायर मानते, अभी कहते भाई ये मेरे सांस ले, लेकिन मेरी कलाकारी की तो भैया पहले थोड़ी दाद दे। पर मुझे आइडल ना बना, मैं नहीं बुत मेरे ईमान को ना हिला। मेरा चलता है कलम तो रब का है करम, ये मेहनत का सिला तू ना बता कौन हूँ मैं। बुरे शागिर्द मेरे जिंदा खाने वाले सारे यहाँ गिद केड़े, आप जैसे लोग सिर्फ नोट गिनते हैं, मेरे जय मुंडे अपने दिन गिन देने। ये लेंगे नाम मेरा जाने के बाद, जब मैं ना रहूंगा तो रबा मेरे रखी दुराज। जो मैं ना रहा फोन मेरा जिगर देना छुपा और बोली झूठ आशे मफस का नहीं गुलाम। मैं मुस्तकबिल देखूं ये मेरा नहाल, मेरे माजी दुनिया आगे मैंने किताब बदनाम। डरू मौत से मैं क्योंकि साला ना हूं तैयार, जो तू नाराज रब दुनिया में ही देना सजा। चाहिए थी इज्जत पर अब शोहरत ज्यादा अच्छी लगती क्यों? आया काफी आगे जाना चाहता वापस पर अब क्या करूं? शक्ल छोटा लेकिन छोटे, मेरा एम स्ट्रॉन्ग भाई, आपका यहीं खड़ा बाकी सारे बाइगोन। बनना चाहता अच्छा इंसान लेकिन मेरी टेक्निकलिटीज ने मुझे बना दिया साइबोर्ग। मेरी हर एक बंदी मुझे बोले बेहिसाब था मैं शायद तभी बनना चाहता वाइज और बनना चाहता अच्छा इंसान लेकिन मेरी टेक्निकलिटीज ने मुझे बना दिया साइबोर्ग। बना दिया साइबोर्ग, 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 तेरे लिए आइकॉन बना दिया। छोटे मुझे भाई बोल बना दिया।
फरमाए मेरी कलाकारी, the way I do it अच्छे रैपर भी लगते हैं नाड़ी। I guess it's the bar I've said, एक ही बात कितनी बार I've said। मुझसे ना अड़ो के मैं नहीं तेरे बीच में, सोचों को हदें तेरी मैं नहीं तेरी रीच में। मैं एक ही बीट पे दो अलग मंजन बेचता, लोगों को नशा सुनने वाला बार्स खींचता। कोकेन महंगी लोग पीते आइस, I did that shit for like once, twice or thrice। मौला मदद मेरे enemies are outlaws, these rappers think they're a threat, they're not even close। मेरा किसी रैपर से कोई बीफ नहीं, मेरा कोई रद्दो बदल नहीं ना हरीफ कोई। Good vibes, I'm all about the good vibes, I visualize your demise while I spit fire। Wrote this shit when I was high, now I'm way higher। Now let me teach you फर्क हमारे बीच में, कि मैं जो हूँ मैं वो ही बन के आता। That's right। लोगों को पसंद के मैं उनके लिए गाता। Facts। तुम्हारी सोच छोटी जोर तुमसे लगे ना, हंसी तो आती लेकिन वो गाने चले ना। जैसे बरगरे कराची चला था, वो कला थी, वो 5 साल का सिला था। मैं कोई वन सॉन्ग वंडर नहीं, झूठी होगा if I say के मारे ब्लंडर्स नहीं। हम सीखते हैं ऐसे ही तो सीखते हैं, जीतते हैं हारते हैं पल ऐसे बीतते हैं। जो के गवा रहना I was real to the game, जो के गवा रहना fame didn't make me change। जो के गवा रहना आज भी मैं वैसा ही जैसा मैं कल था, मैं तलहा मैं ऊपर इन सारों से। Yeah। मैं ऊपर इन सारों से, दिमाग बंद और खाली मेरे हाथ, मैं जीता जैसे जीऊंगा निकल के बाद। मुझे डराती बस एक ऊपर वाली जात, जमीन पे जो खुदा उनसे मेरी काफ। तो माफ करना अगर तुम ऑफेंड हो, जज करते मुझे आके मुझे बैन दो, वरना रहन दो। You don't even know me, मेरे 333 cousins, मेरे 636 homies। मनी प्रॉब्लम्स, पैसों के ये मामले, पैसा फेंक और फिर जितना मर्जी काम ले। कर्ज उतारूं जब कोई बीट उधार लूं, कब्र में मुर्दा मुर्दा है मेरी आरज़ू। मर जाऊं तेरी गोली से या खुद को मार लूं, धोके चेहरा ये सुर्ख रंग उतार दूं। हार दूं क्या सारी जंगे हार दूं, एक आर्टिस्ट जिंदा मेरे अंदर उसको मार दूं। बोल तू मैं कितना गलत कितना सही, खोल तू कोई बात मुझसे छुपे नहीं। बोल दूं जो राज दिल में दफन से, तेरे झूठ सब सफेद में है कफन से। यंगस्टर्स वी पुल अप pop a bitch, दोस्त बन मेरा बीचों बीच कोई snitch। Living life in fast lane is mad fun, I had a bad daddy, daddy had a bad son। Yeah, ये कहानी बड़ी दर्द भरी, underground से I climb out like Bugs Bunny। रैपर सारे देखें नीचे से, मैं ऊपर से नीचे देखूं तो टांगे मेरी खींचे। So paint a picture, enemies are animated, I got my mind where my heart is, I'm dedicated। If I'm not dead by 25 then I swear I made it, and if I'm dead by 25 that is legendary। जिसे तू समझा इख्तिताम वो तो शुरुआत थी, अभी बीट बाकी बात बाकी रात बाकी। Smoke a pound फर्श पे है सिर्फ राख बाकी, लेकिन सुन अभी बात बाकी। मुंतज़िर मैं अपने उरूज का, सिर्फ व्यूज नहीं सोचूं बहुत दूर का। ऊपर हासिल मुझे इस रैप गेम पे, सुना के नहीं तुम सब ने ऊपर की बीट पे। बदल दे नाम जो ना बजे वो रिपीट पे, जो के शॉटगन और मैं ड्राइविंग सीट पे। स्पीड में नशेड़ी बदतमीज में, एक तरफ जान एक तरफ मौत और मैं बीच में। हम खासे रियल तू बेतहाशा जाली, अपनी नॉलेज बढ़ा ताकि ना देनी पड़े गाली। When you diss me, yeah, every time they send shots these motherfuckers miss me।
कहती सुन ले बथेरे वे, मैं झूठे लारे तेरे राजे यार। तू नाले मोड़ चली तोहफे जेड़े तेनू मैंने दिते हीरिए। तू छड़ना सौखा तेरे वास्ते सोनिए। तू बिलो याद रखी आपा केड़े तेरे पिछे मर चले, अजे भी तेरी याद आए दिलदार, बिकने तेरे बाद आए। तू जदों दी मैं तो रुस के गई रू, दिल विचों कढ़ लै गई। ना मिले मैनू अपना पता ना, जग ते ऐतबारा ने तू, जदों दी मैं तो रुस के गई रू, तू दिल विचों कढ़ लै गई।
मैं ना था जहाँ वो जिधर, मुलाकातें सब मुख्तसर सी क्यों हम वक्त के वो दोपहर जो मिलके भी मिलते नहीं, हम एक दूसरे से खफा पर करते गिले भी नहीं नहीं नहीं। मुर्दे में ताकत और तुझ में सदाकत नहीं नहीं नहीं। जहाँ से छोड़ा था तूने मैं तो अभी वहीं 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 कहीं, अगर नहीं तो सोचो मैं रहा ही नहीं तेरे शहर में, अब मेरा घर नहीं। मैं जैसे भटकती रूह यहाँ से वहाँ फिरूं, हाथों में वर्कुल शाम और बातें मैं खुद से करूं। वो कहते मैं पीता हूँ क्यों करता खुद को बर्बाद, मैं कहता मैं पीता हूँ यूं के आए ना मुझे फिर उसकी याद। एक उसके आने से पहले और एक उसके जाने के बाद, एक नशा चढ़ने से पहले और एक उतरने के बाद। सुना अफसानों में के आसमानों में बनते हैं जोड़े सभी, और करे ना यार जो वादा खिलाफी तो हम भी ना तोड़े कभी। I don't know, out of sight, out of mind man, I don't know क्यों खींचूं चिट्टे की लाइन में। I don't know जितनी क्यूट उतनी मीन भी, I don't know जितनी झूठी तू उतनी हसीन भी।
ना मिले मैनू अपना पताना जग ते एतबारा ने तू, जदों दी मैं तो रुस के गई रू, तू दिल विचों कढ़ लै गई। अफसाने अब लिखता नहीं हूँ, मैं दुनिया को दिखता नहीं हूँ। मत पूछो मैं कितना सही हूँ, क्यों एक जगह टिकता नहीं हूँ। बसर करते हैं तेरे दिल में, असर है तो शिकवा करें क्यों। जिक्र होता है हर महफिल में, वो चाहते पर दिखता नहीं हूँ। अफसाने अब लिखता नहीं हूँ, मैं दुनिया को दिखता नहीं हूँ। मत पूछो मैं कितना सही हूँ, क्यों एक जगह टिकता नहीं हूँ। बसर करते हैं तेरे दिल में, असर है तो शिकवा करें क्यों। जिक्र होता है हर महफिल में, वो चाहते पर दिखता नहीं हूँ।
If I were you and you were me, I would forgive you जैसे तू हो एक सुरंग में, उसके एंड में तुझको रोशनी दिखी। Light it up, that's how I see you, खुद को मेरी नजर से देख। If I were you and you were me, if you were me, मैं ऐसे टूटता कि टूटते हैं तारे क्या, वो आज भी है मुंतजर मुख्तसर एक मुलाकात का, फिर कभी मिल पाए ना। दिल डूबे मंजिल लगे दूर बहुत, उरूज से जवाल देखे हैं नूर बहुत। ना तेरे हाथ में जिंदगी और ना ही मौत, मेरे हाथ में है कलम कला और शौक। हर खौफ से आजाद कर दो मेरी जात को, किस्मतों से पाक कर दो मेरे हाथ को। जिस हिसाब से रखा है दिल पे बोझ मेरे, जैसे कारमा पीछे पड़ा है हाथ धो। गाने गाए बहुत दिल दुखाए बहुत, ना तुम्हें आए शर्म ना हमें आए मौत। मैं सेन हूँ इस मिनट नेक्स्ट मिनट हम साइको, इंडस्ट्री करे फॉलो ब्रांड्स गो वेयर आई गो। ये मेरा फ्लेक्स नहीं है लाइफ है, सेंड माई चेक मुझे बातचीत नहीं चाहिए। आई गॉट बिल्स मर्द के अलग होते कायदे, अगर कमाते नहीं तो मर्द हो तुम काय के। फ्यूचर दिखता नहीं है फ्यूचर इज व्हाट आई से, वो साथ खाए कहना पड़ता नहीं वो भाई थे। आई डू अ डाई फॉर द गैंग, बिना लिखत पढ़त के किए हुए हैं ये मुआहदे। साल गिरा तब भी खड़ा था मैं माइक पे, गवाह यार रवादार मेरे साथ रहे सदा आबाद ये आवाज। I rap for a purpose, ये करियर एक cause। You expect me to be perfect and I'm just full of flaws। कैसे लिखता हूँ ये verses, क्या करता हूँ महसूस, मैं बिना ताज का बादशाह का nothing to lose। I'm crossing lines just to cancel out the booze। अब ना दिल से निकले आरज़ू, जब से दिल से निकली आज तू। दिल था मेरा गोशा है सुकून एक, क्यों बना गई है ऐसे बाजार तू।
अफसाने अब लिखता नहीं हूँ, मैं दुनिया को दिखता नहीं हूँ। मत पूछो मैं कितना सही हूँ, क्यों एक जगह टिकता नहीं हूँ। बसर करते हैं तेरे दिल में, असर है तो शिकवा करें क्यों। जिक्र होता है हर महफिल में, वो चाहते पर दिखता नहीं हूँ। अफसाने अब लिखता नहीं हूँ, मैं दुनिया को दिखता नहीं हूँ। मत पूछो मैं कितना सही हूँ, क्यों एक जगह टिकता नहीं हूँ। असर करते हैं तेरे दिल में, असर है तो शिकवा करें क्यों। जिक्र होता है हर महफिल में, वो चाहते पर दिखता नहीं हूँ। दिल में सवाल बड़े, पिछे हुए जाल बड़े, मेरी मिसाल चले चाहते सारे चाल चले। थप्पड़ ये गाल पे इंडस्ट्री पूरी पाल तेरे, नया किताब जो तुम खोल के सिर्फ छापते रहे। तलवे मेरे चाट तेरे, पैसा नहीं वो दाद दे रहे। देखे नहीं हालात मेरे यारों ने जो ख्वाब देखे, पूरे करूँ आज अब इस हाथ में वो आग बेटे। पैसे में वो बात नहीं जो इज्जत मेरी आज बेटे। ये इम्तिहान कैसा सूरज नहीं पर चांद देगा, लिखारी जानलेवा उर्दू रैप को सांस देता। किससे लड़ूं जंग सब वाकिफ है ये मैदान मेरा। रैप मेरी जान में कराची के लिए जान दे रहा। ये लड़के लिखते मुझे दिखते अपने बार्स भाई, डरता नहीं गिरने से बस दुनिया से नाराज भाई। आईने को तोड़ दे यूं जोड़ते अल्फाज भाई, लफ्ज कैसे तोलते जब भारी ये आवाज भाई। दिल मेरा साफ में इंडस्ट्री का वो राज भाई, डरते मुझसे आज भी शाहीन आता बाज नहीं भाई। फुल 50 तलहा जाने खोला हाथ नहीं, कागज को मैं आग दूं पिछवाड़े इनके राख भाई। सर अपना नोच रहे, हम सोते हुए भी सोच रहे, ख्वाबों में भी अपनों के खुशी के आंसू पोंछ रहे। आई एम अ रोल मॉडल आज भी ऑन द रोड अंडरग्राउंड को लाया मेन स्ट्रीम वाले शोज में। डील होती क्लोज उठते साथ मुझे होश नहीं, इंडस्ट्री मेरे लन पेपर नहीं वो मेरी दोस्त नहीं। रोजी रोटी लिखी ऊपर वाले ने अफसोस नहीं, डरते नहीं हम मौत से मुसाफिर मरते रोज भाई। आई आस्क गॉड व्हाई यू मेड फियर, सब रोना चाहते बट वी हेट टीयर्स। I'm never sober but I stay clear, समझ से बार में जैसे शेक्सपियर। अरसे से खाई नहीं रोटी माँ के हाथ की, तारों को मैं नाम दूं तू देख मेरी सादगी। दुश्मन को भी काम दूं कैसे होगी बराबरी, लोग मेरी मेहनत का फल खाना चाहते आज भी। ये बातें नहीं कागजी, मैं खुद को देता दाद भाई। सच से दुनिया भागती और मैं सिर्फ सच के साथ भाई। हाय सुंदर रूम मुझ तक पहुंचेंगे क्या खाक भाई, हर गाने की मैं धुन सिर्फ बीटों से करता बात। अफसाने अब लिखता नहीं हूँ, मैं दुनिया को दिखता नहीं हूँ। मत पूछो मैं कितना सही हूँ, क्यों एक जगह टिकता नहीं हूँ। बसर करते हैं तेरे दिल में, असर है तो शिकवा करें क्यों। जिक्र होता है हर महफिल में, वो चाहते पर दिखता नहीं हूँ। अफसाने अब लिखता नहीं हूँ, मैं दुनिया को दिखता नहीं हूँ। मत पूछो मैं कितना सही हूँ, क्यों एक जगह टिकता नहीं हूँ। बसर करते हैं तेरे दिल में, असर है तो शिकवा करें क्यों। जिक्र होता है हर महफिल में, वो चाहते पर दिखता नहीं हूँ।
माफी तलाफी की काफी पर आई काम नहीं जी। आप वो लेती मेरा नाम नहीं। Pills pop, I let the weed smoke. Sometimes just talking does not make the pain go. तू ही आग, तू ही उस पे पड़ती बारिश, मैं वो खाली हवेली जिसकी तू अकेली वारिस। तू ही छाँव, तू ही धूप, रंगों के साथ रूप, तू जितनी खूबसूरत उससे कहीं ज्यादा दूर। मैं लिखना छोड़ दूं जो तेरे बारे, मैं कलम तोड़ दूं और तू स्याही में बसा रहे। हंसा रहे जमाने को खुद से परेशान, वो पढ़ती थी किताबें मैं पढ़ता हूँ इंसान। इंसान भी क्या चीज़ है, एक में वफा नहीं और दूसरे को वफा की उम्मीद है। इंसान भी क्या चीज़ है, मैं कल गुजरा फिर उधर से तो याद आ गई चीज़ एक। तेरा नंबर नहीं है, you left the city and you're gone। बात करने को है बस ये माइक्रोफोन, वही कागज वही कलम लहजे सख्त, दिल नरम बदबख्त। बस करो उदासी हर तरफ, झूठे तेरे भरम, किस बात पे तू बरहम। पर हम क्यों अभी stuck like a jam on a one way, but someday तू समझ जाएगी दूर होके हमसे कि हम में वो करार नहीं, पहले वाली बात नहीं। तुझे किया आज़ाद या दी है खुद को सजा, लेकिन दिल के मोहल्ले में अब तेरा मकान नहीं। आज फिर तू आई नहीं, याद तेरी आई थी, बेवजह ही बेवफा से बेपनाह उम्मीद जो लगाई थी। आज फिर तू एक गुमान, आज फिर तू शायरी, सोचा था तू आएगी तोड़ के वो रस्में सारी दुनिया की रिवायती। But God damn it girl, आज फिर तू आई नहीं, याद तेरी आई थी, बेवजह ही बेवफा से बेपनाह उम्मीद जो लगाई थी।
राजी दिल तो रज़ामंदम क्यों नहीं, नई टापी पिल गाने लिखे ये शऊर भैया, आजिज़ी है बागी इसको कहते हम गुरूर नहीं, दिले मगरूर तू भी खूब तो आराम देना सूद फिर, I'm just a text away, इतना भी दूर नहीं, feels like yesterday, सच का सबूत नहीं, तू ही ज़वाल मेरा तू ही है उरूज, ए लोगों से पूछे कलम लिखता झूठ नहीं, गम देकर फिर दिलासे कैसे, मुँह पे तसल्लियाँ तो दुनिया में तमाशे कैसे, हम आज भी कहते ना कोई रकीब ना हरीफ, हम थे गरीब न जाने काटी हैं वो रातें कैसे, कलम छोड़ या कलम तोड़ा वजन तोल, नहीं हजम शोर ये हजम खोज, तू सुरंग खोद तराजू ही नहीं जो तोलेगा ये डजन बोल, तू रकम सोच इन लफ्जों की आजा जख्म तोल, इंसान भी क्या चीज़ है, एक में वफा नहीं और दूसरे को वफा की उम्मीद है, इंसान भी क्या चीज़ है, झूठ की सजा नहीं तो तोहमतें लगाने पे यार ढील है, तू जैसे रहमत तू ही हूर तू ही नूर कोई नूर, तू ही साया तू ही धूप तू फितूर ये फतूर, तू इतनी खूबसूरत के मैं लिखने पे मजबूर, बादल सिराना क्योंकि दूर तूने तो आना नहीं, खुद कुछ ज़माना ये एक गाना कोई फसाना नहीं, लिख दे अफसाने तुझ पे लेकिन
आज फिर तू आई नहीं, याद तेरी आई थी, बेवजह ही बेवफा से बेपनाह उम्मीद जो लगाई थी, आज फिर तू एक गुमान, आज फिर तू शायरी, सोचा था तू आएगी तोड़ के वो रस्में सारी दुनिया की रिवायती, but God damn it girl आज फिर तू आई नहीं, याद तेरी आई थी, बेवजह ही बेवफा से बेपनाह उम्मीद जो लगाई थी।
They told the boy कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला rap से, they told the boy that he's whack and his tracks shit, that broke the boy almost to the point कि boy भी कहने लगा था fuck this rap shit, मौका आया and the boy had to take it, the boy been waiting almost for a decade, वो flex करें dress while the truth stood naked, I keep it real पता ही नहीं how to fake it, ये lyrics sacred सुनो एहतराम से, मोड़े से उतार underground और हाथ बांध ले, आधा सच पूरा झूठ होता है याद रख, तू बंदर है उर्दू रैप तेरे लिए अदरक, खड्डा या कॉम्प्रो हम नहीं करते माजरत, I eat rappers and call them लबाज़मात, देनी छोड़ दी अब hints के मैं कौन हूँ, मैं नारान से भी ऊपर मैं जुनेजो का ड्रोन हूँ, do what you do and do it till your last breath, उर्दू रैप GTA 5 I've got a death wish, Franklin I mean frankly तू मेरा opposite, respect that don't fucking disrespect me, they're paranoid जैसे Jesse Pinkman on meth.
Paris on the mic. Hello. किस तरह शुरू करूं किससे ये फिर से मैं फंस गया हूँ, पेंसिलों के सिक्के ही घिस के मैं थक गया हूँ, अक गया हूँ, मसले नहीं मुकते ये बिस्ते या डर के मैं छुप जाऊं इनसे, इनके पंजे हैं कुत्ते चलते हैं मुजरे और बंदे हैं ठुकते, इनकी गाड़ियों के बीच में गाड़ियों के पीछे हैं गुनाहों के नतीजे पहाड़ियों के पीछे, मैं झाड़ियों के बीच में छुपा फिरूं आंटियों की साड़ियों के नीचे, मैं अयाशियों के ख्वाब देखूं काफियों के हिस्सों की काट ली मुसीबतें, ओए बांध अपनी सीट बेल्ट झांक अपने पीछे, मैं भाग हो गया हूँ तू पे फिर के मैं ढाक हो गया हूँ, जैसे PP2 पाक हो गया हूँ, इखलाक हो गया है लिप्स ब्लैक हो गए हैं, मीनवाइल पाकिस्तान धूप में सड़ है, भूख से मर रहा है इधर झूठ बल रहा है, who's the girl man मेरा शूट तो कल है, lose the girls बेच तेरे मुंह में बन है, तेरे दूध पे बाल है, मुंह हटा ले ये बू बेमिसाल है, जरा इंतहा पसंद से हैं हम सब और हमारे मंसूबे सारे, कोई तो जवाब दे कोई तो जवाब दे कोई तो जवाब दे तू कोई तो जवाब दे तू, अरे कोई 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 तो जवाब कोई तो जवाब दे तू कोई तो जवाब दे तू, अरे कोई 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 जड़। आखिरी दम तक पूछूं क्या सवाल ये सब मैं बार बार, किधर मर गई इंसानियत में लाचार। क्या मैं फिरूं बम बांध के चार चार? ईमानदारी हर कारी भूल गया, ये मार धाड़ यहाँ के असूल हैं, ये बातचीत मजाक रात फजूल है। और आज रात को हम सब कंफ्यूज हैं कि किस किस्म के अशरफुल मखलूकात हैं हम। जरा आके बात तो सुन, किसी तरह रोक दे ये पागलपन, ये कत्लो गारत बम, ये बेकार की जंग आर्जी तौर पे बंद है पार्टी सन। सब पैसे की गेम है ये गालिबन, गालियां मैं देता फिरूं आदतन, अच्छा माइंड न कर तेरी माँ को लन। खैर अरे भाई पैसा तो फेंक, छोड़ ये किताब को, हराम को हलाल को, ये बात सारी एक है तू देख ले। ईमानदारी पुल थले सुट दे, मुल्क को ही बेच दे, पुलिस को तू देख ले, उनको ही पूछ ले हकूक ने बात के मुताबिक। हकूक ने बात के मुताबिक पुलिस करे इधर मटर गश्त थी सिर्फ डियर सदर। ब्रदर ये जलती हुई कौम है, रोज रोज दर्जनों में मरती हैं औरतें एक दो, खवातीन 4 5 6 8 9 जवान तो रोज जा बहाक है क्यों ना कर यूं। कोई तो जवाब दे, कोई तो जवाब दे, कोई तो जवाब दे तू, कोई तो जवाब दे तू, अरे कोई 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 तो जवाब कोई तो जवाब दे तू, कोई तो जवाब दे तू, अरे कोई 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 कोई। Yo, Shani Man on the licks, Faris on the mic. Let's do this. मुस्कुरा के मुस्कुरा दे मिसफरा, हर दफा कि मैं तो हूँ एक मस्खरा और है मेरा लड़खड़ा। What's the man मिस रज़ा, जज़ाकल्लाह। ले ले मेरा मशवरा, अगर हो रहा है आपका दिल खराब, इसे दिल रुबा है दिल रुबा।
I've come to help. Listen to me. You help me?
Traveling vaudeville villain. You don't give a flying fuck who ain't not feeling them. Watch what you're dealing them. Ace King Death card. Strong arm the wrong man. Pardon the left guard. Get money and earn it. That everything you touch turn shit. Got much to learn, kid. Write it up, burn shit. Light it up like the Dutch when the hash melt. Only time they see him when they meet him with the cash belt. Ay caramba, now that's my number. One dry summer, as far as I remember, burnt out. We're getting every edgy penny. Then he hit him straight to the head like Reggie Denny. Call him back when you need some more yak, horse yak. Doing 80 down the Van Wick on horseback. Your man sick, but he wrecked tracks, puto. Get back to bro, exactamundo. Victor the director flip a script like Rob Reiner. The way a lot of dudes rhyme, their name should be Knob Shiner. For a buck, they likely dance the jiggle, do the hucklebuck. To Vic, it's no big deal, they just a bunch of knuckle fucks. You wonder how well would they hold up in the holding cell. It sorta has the strange makings of a tale told in hell. Like, oh well, hold tall riches. If the feds is really after them, they just told all the snitches. And borrowed time rhymes, gassed by the silver screen. They act like they monkey ass, get healed back like Wolverine. Mellow out what y'all bellow out, y'all yellow mouth. What happened to the type of spit that used to help a fellow out? No doubt, leave a rapper in a body cast. I wonder what he was doing while we was in karate class. Snotty ass, it's really like he was a white belt. Right before he night, ask him how the light felt. Wouldn't take their tape if they gave it free. Maybe it's me, maybe it's me. Throw down the key, y'all know how shit be. In the naked city, rappers is so giddy. That's no Diddy, born so witty. The way he take no prisoners and show no pity. It's how son became a big man from a black boy. To name names, a really big fan of Dan Aykroyd. He feel they need to give him his own dance. This is only chance to shoot the gift like a lone glance. Or like a beef scene that leave the ooey smoking. Or between Hoto sinking and Nanto sweet choking. Confirmation of your worst fears. Ever since his first years, had a thirst for beers. Back from the future, it'll make you more soberer. And brought back a long list of fakers who crossed over. I'm like, fuck it, bubble baller. Catch him up at Bob's show, stalling with a trouble caller. Bastard, who can make G's faster than a newly remastered while being truly plastered. There's four sides to every story. If these walls could talk, they probably still ignore me. Contemplate war over a cup of warm coffee. It's really getting gory, tell your problem to Maury. Don't bore me with the glory, hallelujah. Cruise me like Fooey, it's all a bunch of hooey. I knew he had new G, who he? Victor Vaughn, he had a new sicker song. I think he called it Lick Upon, but he studied rhymes and patterns. Climb so steep, sometimes the beat don't be mattering. Sounding like a half-dead from scurvy band rock. A programmed computer by a grafted Herbie Hancock. Maybe next life, you try harder. Died a martyr at the hands of the fire starter. All scripts ripped, available for via barter. Transport the stack to the lab via charter. On the microphone, he came to days in the measure. What a guy practiced banging flies with razors. And watch out for the robot, he got eyes with lasers. Tell him when they come with more topics besides blazers. Enough with the guns already, they all toys and lames. The joys in the aim, he asked him how's your poison game. Do you bust your crossbow? Also, more so, accurate body blows to torso, thought so. These flows you won't find in no how-to. If the blacksmith doubt you, he smack the shit out you. Make nothing go and let nothing twitch. Just don't be near the mic when the on button switch. V bring the beef like a trucker to Fuddrucker. Delivery to all y'all motherfuckers and bloodsucker. Copy more please than when a rap nigga bicker on. And that's my word is born. I think he call it liquor porn. He wrote this one with a fever, sick in bed, with his dick head inside a chicken head. No, a dead chicken's head. He said it help his nausea. If you lost your way till he tell you about the flying saucer. Dag, the kickback leave your wig rag for a big bag of good grizzle and some zigzag. Survival, keep a rival in denial, and bust what he get just for coming out his pie hole. Die calmer than a suicide bomber. V just the type to do a who ride with mama. Said to James Bond, my name is Victor Vaughn. Told a chick the quickest way to get on, lick upon.
Victor, a stranger to see you.
If I'm not working or putting work in, I'm either wheeling and dealing or probably jerking my listening to nothing, taking no suggestions or destructive criticism that can't improve on perfection. Rockin' crowd in sections on a good night, the hoes fight. Always get the dough first and everything else goes right. At least that's what they say. And who the fuck is they? Make a hick say, what the hey? Talk that shit from sick bay. Ensign, he should've asked his upperclassmen before he bust blast and never trust no Kardashians. Captain Log Supplemental. The Klingons are now aboard the Enterprise rental vessel. On my cue, photon torpedo. Oh, and if I'm out on the block with Jorgito and so on for the street though, smoking Pondelito, I'm joking on the fact that hip-hop has gone freak show. Don't let the drama get you in the only genre of music where the fans shoot the messenger. Bitch niggas talk behind your back like a catcher. Either MYOB or BYO stretcher. In that order, man, woman, son, daughter. The beat sound like it's underwater, make it from the slaughter. Even if you hear some whack shit, you never give a chance. Some shit sound like all you can do off it is river dance. It's not a hobby, don't be sloppy. Doing deals with these labels is likened to a botch robbery. Nobody's supposed to get bodied. Golly, this shit is like a folly about the cold flip probably. It's not me, he got an ill spill, not Brooklyn on. But even though kids kill, they still chill and look calm. While working on new developments for the book bomb. In one bad experiment, it blew and took a hooker arm. Val, look mom, no hands. You studied black magic for years out in no man's land. It's like a barbecue, all swine cookout. To fuck up their plans like a blind man lookout. Cram to overstand it, peep it and absorb it. The same way he keeps all the planets in their proper orbit. Norbit, y'all better off going corporate. Nobody wanna hear that bullshit, it's too morbid. There's no Prince, he hold a mic with a mic glove and rolls dolo from state to state like Ike Love. Like on top of the world, loose and keep it gully. Rap creeps seem to got too much juice in their belly. That's why they brung V, he's still hungry. To spit something thick on the mic like a lungy. Mind your daughter, she online for the water. To get lucky like when she found a quarter, kinda sorta. Remember me, dog, clean Tim's with emery board. He only came to save the game like a memory card. Ooh, shrewd, a lot of crews is too rude. And it's way too many, let's not and say we do dudes. He said 24/7 I be on call. He uses vacation days to watch Babylon fall. Numbskulls, get to step in they dumb dull. And how he rep the mic is like the weapon from Crow. Cats be like, what's wrong with your man, Black? Biohazard suit and Van Grack for the anthrax. G's and can't get no peace. Born blazing sword for the police, road beast. Cold cheese, write a rhyme like a book report and sell it to a rookie. You could tell by the hook he bought. You ain't know he sell hooks and choruses. They couldn't bang the slang if they looked at thesauruses. It's like a friendly game of dodgeball. Oddball guards all who play the garage wall. With the Stan Smith checkerboard lace and the brand new if they ain't checked the broad waist. You saw his face, so who next to get their neck chopped or pop like a Bex top? Respect the drop, it's too much wreck hops. Who next to get their neck chopped or pop like a Bex top? Respect the drop, whoop-de-doo. Flow do 50 like a hoopty-doo. Groupie crews try to figure out from what coop he flew. They out of place, beats sound like outer space with no time to waste. He was outie without a trace. Trace.
Well, we all know what was going on there, more or less. Who it was?
Hello, I'm Dean Stockton of Eastern State University in America, and I'm prepared to offer you a full science scholarship.
Victor used the college, used its modern scientific equipment to conduct strange, forbidden experiments.
Somewhere's out in cop killer Queens, where Bodine stop limousines and niggas flee the scene. Somebody on his back bleeding, vest all cracked up. Freeze, clown officer down, request backup. Listen, dude, don't get me misconstrued as a sniper. It's reborn not to be confused with Vila Viper, or either Peter Parker, or either Peter Piper. See the type of pee the diaper, blame it on the wiper. It's really not your concern why I got the knife, sir. You should just remain calm, let's not get... No! Slash his windpipe, he had them type of eyes. He might be still alive. How you get this thing to hyperdrive? Oh, give my props to the shooter. Prices at an all-time low in the future. Something like 14, they must be on horse pills. OT and 03 to re-up on force fields. Of that course deal, he plotted the coordinates. 2003 winter time, Upper West Side, more or less. This thing be bugging like a celly frontin'. Who the hell is honey with a slug in her belly stuntin'? You ain't had to tell V nothing. Trust him, it really ain't no time for discussion. He'll be back in 93, press of a button, then they busted in. His first impulse was to smack the dirt. All four wore plain clothes and lumberjack shirt. Recognized one face from school 6 degrees ago. He'd snuff him in his braces to switch the station to BGO. And kept a punchline every lunch break, lunchtime. And this is no time to pump fake, it's crunch time. The same split second, they let off the toast. It's when he hit the speed dial and sped off ghosts. I know them cats don't like V, and if they took my head off, they'd get off most likely. They probably thought the time gizmo was my wallet, and hit the hills no 40 more times. times on some foul shit. Pick a crime, he was out in the nick of time to get paid another day and live to kick a sicker rhyme or iller. It's like Millimore liquor time. Uptown finally where it's probably not best to flaunt. Everyone's your best friend. V steps into the restaurant. My friend, he said you must be psychic. What's the price of
What's animating on 1s, 2s, and 3s? Well, the number represents the frame that each drawing is shown on the plate. If you're animating on 1s, every drawing will be on screen for 1 frame. If you're animating on 2s, every drawing will be on screen for 2 frames. If you're animating on 3s,
aspirin and other kinds of medicines. Next time I bring my men who speak Mexican, let the text spin, make contact the next spin. The whole thing is mostly lactose, lecithin, and some type of aspirin, ambisol medicine.
Unnecessarily so. If you don't need to draw every frame, you don't do it. The decision of which is used balances everything from image quality, fluidity, time, money. So let me give you a basic visual comparison. Disney is usually on 1s, smooth, pretty high budget. Warner Brothers on 2s, snappy with a decent budget. Anime on 3s. It's choppy, usually a lower budget, but if the budget's comparable, the illustrations are much more detailed. So how do you know which one to use? It's completely up to the shot and your judgment, which you'll learn in time. But basically, fast action should be on 1s, and everything else should be on 2s and 3s. And that's your tip in a bit. I'm Stephen Brooks from Rubber Onion Animation.
I'm only rhyming where the drums is at. Y'all niggas think y'all slick with that bullshit, bump that. Y'all pay V for flowing to the beat, not for what he know they got hoes hoeing in the streets. That's for him to know, and for they to never find out about the kidnapped blindfold and the blind mouth. The coroner report say he simply signed out. Oh, and I know y'all wanna see a wino, bring the wine out. Cat with a dead mouse is how we catch a phrase and pause plays with it. Kill it and eat off it for days, kid it. Whoever ain't get it ain't supposed to. For standing still close to, bandits will ghost you. No suit Sherlock, I don't know how they do on your block. Out here we rock on to the short shot. Shit still ain't stopped, keep it on till your peeps is gone. BB on the creep, no matter what you peep it on. CD, the ridiculously. People think he studied levitation's true mystery. Had a pal named Ed Leo scowling till he got him for his sweet 16. He said, Ed B. Wildin'. Rumor has his things got violent. He clouded him and broke the fuck out, but he ain't trying to rob him. I told her, don't tell your man, that's the trouble with these chicks. Next experiment, 12 strands from double helix. No, I haven't seen Kess, lyrics. Oh yeah? Just you stay away from her with those lyrics. Please, ain't nobody fucking after her. I'm out of here as soon as I fix the flux capacitor. And old Anna speak to V in a proper manner before he stab you and put out all type of propaganda. Stop the slander, chop the hand of a thief, and cut the mouth off of whoever come out they teeth. V sell time to an inmate, and then tell him a rhyme for the hell of it to demonstrate. They know who's the renowned beat critic, who do a street lyric like that's a neat trick. Off on a tangent, ain't got a cent. Supposed to went to management and spent it getting bent. Sparky, I had enough of your malarkey. For one, don't mark me. And who you calling darky? I had to take the car. Yo.
Hey, yeah, all right, man. That's great. Bye. Get the fuck out of here. That was nice. Cut his mic off. Thank you. I am back. I am your host, Little Willie B representing the hood, goddammit, a little fat nigga who got money, so fuck you. Up next, we got the open mic poetry event, the 15th annual, sponsored by motherfucking Valentine, Cross Country Clothing, and a lot of whack shit that the hood will not wear anymore. We got my man up first. His name is Sam Buka. Give it up for Sam Buka, yo. Come on. The mic is here, stupid. Come here, Sam Buka.
This is the tone that I speak, the voice, the unheard voice of my of my of my of my of my
Is there any anger in you? Any anger in your
Of course there is. Yeah, of course there is.
Talk about that. Tell me what the anger is. What are you angry about?
Jean-Michel Basquiat was just 27 years old when he died in 1988 from a heroin overdose. In the 30 years since his death, the prices of his art have climbed up. And in 2017, a Japanese billionaire bought the artist's untitled painting for $110.5 million, setting a new record for the highest price ever paid at an auction for an American artist's work. Today, everyone remains fascinated by Basquiat. His life is compelling, and his work is impossible to look away from. As one of the few Black American painters to break through into international consciousness, he's been referenced a lot in hip-hop, from Kanye to Jay-Z to Nas. In many ways, Basquiat was more like a rock star than anything else. His rise to fame was extremely swift, and he enjoyed his celebrity status. He was charismatic, he was a ladies' man, and dated lots of women, including Madonna, and he loved to party. He received massive acclaim in just a few short years, and in 1983 he met one of his heroes, Andy Warhol, who would become his mentor and friend. Ultimately, Basquiat seemed like someone that had a lot of fun while he was around. He was deeply talented, and his art was always driven by his spirit.
What are you angry about?
I don't remember.
In general, art is one aspect of life that is universal, and that goes back to the beginning of humanity. If you look at cavemen, they would paint on the walls to portray reality. Oftentimes they would depict animals, and these illustrations had to be obvious because humans back then were likely unable to talk. Before language, the only way to communicate an idea across space and time was through art, so art was absolutely a necessity. These cavemen also painted as a means to mark their place in the world. The picture you're looking at right here comes from Indonesia and is over 39,000 years old, making it the oldest hand stencil known to science. When language was invented, the purpose of art shifted. It was less about articulating a rudimentary message and more about capturing wealth, beauty, and religion. For example, you'd see art depicting a leader defeating an army, so in a way, art became a flex after writing. This continued until the skill level of artists became on par with photography before photos even exist. That's what Renaissance art did. It represented reality and humans' beauty. During this time, painting relied on fixed subjects and was a process that took an extended amount of time to achieve a realistic result. The invention of the photograph in 1839 changed art forever. It liberated painting from its ties to realism. There was no more need for an artist to labor intensively to depict and record people or events. A photograph could do that in an instant. So the focus of painting shifts to abstraction and leaves the task of keeping visual records to the photographers. This is when you get Impressionist artists like Van Gogh, where he decides, okay, I'm gonna paint what I feel when I see something. So he'd look at the sky and paint swirls, and chose to emphasize the stars. I mean, he could draw a perfectly scientific tree, but it's not about that anymore. That's not interesting. Now it becomes capturing the essence of a subject. And then you go even a step further with Picasso and surrealist paintings, where he would take a person or object and dissect the subject. And I think a fascinating culture that comes later is graffiti, which kind of takes my quick, incomplete art history lesson full circle. Graffiti isn't merely about decoration, it's about relaying a message. It's about marking your presence and letting the world know that you were there. Jean-Michel Basquiat was born on December 22, 1960 in Brooklyn, New York, back when graffiti art was at its infancy. His father was born in Haiti, and his mother was a New York native of Puerto Rican descent. She had a strong interest in art and fashion, and she'd take him to the Brooklyn Museum, the Museum of Modern Art, and the Metropolitan Museum. Inspired by what he saw, Basquiat was drawing incessantly as a child, and he was informed by what he saw on the TV, comic books, and his neighborhood. At 8 years old, Basquiat was playing in the street and got hit by a car and suffered severe internal injuries. He had to get his spleen removed, and while he recuperated, his mother gave him a copy of the medical textbook Gray's Anatomy, which is filled with anatomical drawings that would go on to influence his later work. That same year, Basquiat's family went through financial issues, initially caused by the cost of his hospital bills, and his parents split. His mother fell into a deep depression after the divorce and had to check into a mental hospital a little while later. Jean was forced to live with his father, who was incredibly harsh and would beat him. It's reported that one time he was beat so severely that he went to school the next day walking with a cane. Whenever he needed an escape, he would disappear into the crawl space beneath his staircase and cover it in drawings. Jean wasn't a fan of structured education and didn't like obedience. He moved between at least 5 different public schools. Eventually, in 1976, at the age of 15, he landed at the City as School, a refuge for gifted New York children who didn't respond well to traditional learning. It used the city's cultural institutions as classrooms and regularly gave its students subway tokens for rides to the Hayden Planetarium and MoMA. But he didn't last long there either. At his friend Al Diaz's graduation in 1977, he dumped a box of shaving cream on the principal's head as a dare. He didn't return for his last year of high school, but self-educated by visiting New York museums and creative hubs like Soho. There, his graffiti poetry, signed with the moniker Samo, which stood for Same Old Shit, began to show up on walls. Jean started Samo with his schoolmate Al Diaz. The pair was different from other decorative graffiti artists of the time. Their art was meant in part to be satire on corporations. Instead of pictures, Samo asked odd questions or made enigmatic philosophical declarations.
What we did was completely apart from the subway graffiti culture. It had nothing, the same old graffiti was almost a reaction to that. It was like, no, we're gonna do something smart because we're smart guys and we want adults to read this.
The Samo tag was scattered all over Lower Manhattan and drew a considerable amount of attention around New York. In a way, Samo went viral before virality was a thing. In December 1978, the duo appeared in an article in The Village Voice, which revealed their identities. And shortly after, Jean appeared on Glenn O'Brien's TV program, The TV Party.
TV Party in the past has brought you some of the most significant commentators on graffiti in New York. But tonight, we're lucky enough to have with us probably the most language-oriented of all graffiti artists in New York, Samo, and his associate. Samo, sorry.
It's Mr. Samo. It's my personal secretary.
Sorry, Mr. Samo. Do you write something different every time, or do you write the,
I've read the same thing before, just... It all depends, like how inspired I feel.
This is around the time that Samo ended. Jean saw it as a vehicle. In a way, the graffiti was an advertisement for himself, and he had his eyes on becoming a famous artist.
And he was very diligent in his climb to popularity and fame. It was part of his master plan.
It should be noted that during these early years, Basquiat was extremely poor. His diet at the time consisted of cheap red wine and 15-cent bags of Cheetos.
I was determined not to go home again.
But did you think I could be a bum forever?
Yeah, sort of I did, yeah.
Yeah?
And I could be a bum. I thought I was going to be a bum forever.
Jean would jump from couch to couch and panhandle and sell hand-painted postcards to make a little money. One day he saw famous artist Andy Warhol inside of a restaurant, so he walked right in, introduced himself, and proceeded to sell him one of his postcards. TV Party host Glenn O'Brien asked then 19-year-old Jean to star in a movie he wrote called Downtown 81. The movie was abandoned in the mid-80s due to financial issues, and it got released 20 years later at the 2000 Cannes Film Festival. The movie is a hardly fictional look at New York City's dawn of the 80s art scene, where Jean plays a version of himself. He was homeless at the time of the movie, and slept in the production office during most of the shooting. The film production crew bought him canvases and paints to make paintings for the film. So all the paintings you see in this movie belonging to his character were done by him. After the movie, he moved in with then-girlfriend Suzanne Malik, who supported him financially. She paid the rent waitressing while he worked fanatically at home. Because he had no money for canvases, he painted on anything he could find, from doors and briefcases he found on the street, to permanent elements in their flat, like the fridge, the TV, walls, and floors. Every surface was covered. He even painted on her clothes. Later that year, when he was still 19, he received his first write-up in the art press. Then critic Jeffrey Deitch spotted his work in the Times Square show, calling his paintings a quote, knockout combination of de Kooning and subway spray paint. In February 1981, Jean was featured in the New York/New Wave show at PS1, put on by Diego Cortez. Of more than 100 artists, he was the only one to be given a prominent space for paintings, and showed more than 20 works in the final room of the show. Anina Nosei, a gallery owner in Soho, saw his work and felt an immediate connection to it. She asked to represent him, but besides what he exhibited, he had no additional paintings. He needed money and a place to paint, so she offered up her gallery's basement storeroom as a studio, and he got to work. He worked several canvases at a time, dancing from one surface to the other. He could finish 2 or 3 paintings in a day. His work resonated with many in the art world who were eager to cast off the minimalist trend that dominated the late 60s and 70s. Basquiat became a pioneer in expressionism. In March 1982, at the age of 21, Anina put on his first solo show, and it was a hit. Everything sold, and he made $200,000 in one night. Later that year, he became the youngest artist to exhibit at Documenta 7 in Kassel, Germany. So in an extremely short amount of time, Basquiat had become a star, and he had a strict regimen, work during the day and party at night. Downtown Manhattan became a melting pot of the arts at the end of the 1970s. The downtown crowd of the time consciously set out to be unpretentious, and the scene drew everyone from lawyers to local suburban punks. Clubs hosted DJs, live bands, performances, exhibitions, film screenings, and fashion shows. In the lower Manhattan underground scene, one club in particular became a staple, the Mud Club. For Jean, it was virtually a second home. It was the first nightclub in New York that also functioned as a gallery. Jean always loved smoking joints, but with a new steady stream of cash flowing in his pockets, he started to indulge heavily in cocaine and tried heroin, although it didn't initially affect his output. He described this time saying, quote, "I had some money, I made the best paintings ever, I was completely reclusive, worked a lot, took a lot of drugs."
So do you have a specific method of working? Do you have certain hours that you always work? Do you?
I just have to. I'm usually in front of the television. I have to have some source material around me, to work with. Magazines, textbooks.
You don't mind having a lot of people around too while you're painting too?
I think I'd rather work alone more than anything. I used to have assistants a lot around me, and then on days when they wouldn't come, it would be a lot more productive.
The first really major press for Jean-Michel happened in 1985, when the New York Times magazine ran a cover story on Basquiat titled "New Art, New Money." The tone of the article was both odd and suspicious. There were some critics at the time who weren't as hot on the artist.
The art world, which is full of liberal left-wing types, was feeling that they needed to make a bow in that direction. The disadvantaged, minorities, and so on. His contribution to art is so minuscule as to be practically nil.
About the story that you're always being locked in the basement in order to paint.
That's just has a nasty edge to it, I mean, I was never locked anywhere. I mean, if I was white, they would just say artist in residence rather than say all that other stuff. Most of my reviews have been more reviews on
your personality.
On my personality, yeah, more so than my work mostly. They're just racist, most of these people.
As his star power increased and his paintings became more and more valuable, he became more distrustful of the press and his friends. He started to think that people were surrounding him for exploitative reasons.
You go to a restaurant and they write about it in the Post on page 6, I like to remain a little reclusive and not be and be out there, to be brought up and to be brought down, like they do to most of them.
Yeah, sometimes they can tell on the country.
Well, they always do. I can't think of one big celebrity type person who they haven't done that to.
They tend on you?
Here and there.
Even though Basquiat was the darling of the art world, when he stepped out of that circle and away from those parties, he was still just a black man in the 80s living in New York City.
Me, Jean, we came outside. We were going to go downtown to have dinner. So Jean throws his hand up, he's waiting for a cab. And 1 cab, 2 cab, 3 cab, 4 cab, 5 cabs pass. And Jean would sometimes get mad because the cab would pass. He'd try to run up, try to pull the door open. You fucker, But you'd feel these moments, it was just a part of being black and living in New York City. These things happen, you know what I'm saying?
Race entered his work more explicitly. He painted the ordeals and traumas black people in America faced. His focus on black culture was atypical of artists at the time, and his work helped bring attention to the lack of diversity in the art world.
I think there's a lot of people that are neglected in art. I don't know if it's who made the paintings or what, but I know black people are never really portrayed realistically, not even portrayed in modern art enough.
Because of this, the black person became the protagonist in most of his paintings. The crown became one of Basquiat's most enduring motifs. In a way, it was a representation of his success. Basquiat, the king of the streets, had conquered the art world, and he chose to celebrate black kings because the world didn't. One afternoon, Swiss art dealer Bruno Bischofberger set up a lunch between Basquiat and Andy Warhol. Basquiat said he couldn't stay for lunch, disappeared, and came back 1 hour later with a portrait he drew of him and Andy. That lunch, their friendship began.
So, I understand that you hobnob with the hobnobs. And you go to this club called Area.
Basquiat and Warhol were an unlikely pairing. It was the 80s cool kid with the king of pop art. Plenty of people speculated about the motives behind this unexpected friendship, and many thought the two were using each other for personal gain. Jean-Michel wanted to gain approval from the traditional art world and thought Warhol could help him get accepted. And Andy's art wasn't selling as well in the 80s, so he thought he needed Jean's new blood. Despite their agendas, the folks that were close to the pair speak of a genuine adoration and love between the two. They were remarkably close, and Andy loved Jean-Michel almost like a son.
I hung out with him and Andy several times during that period when they were very close. Andy was really giving great advice. Andy would be like, Jean, did you do this? And you spoke to your mom, and did you blah, blah, blah? He'd go through this list of things, and Jean would be like, yeah, I did that, you know. So I was just like, okay, oh, wow, you know.
The pair collaborated on huge pieces of unstretched canvas, some of them 10 by 20 feet.
He would start most of the paintings. He'd start one of, you know, put something very concrete or recognizable, you know, like a newspaper headline or a product logo, and then I would sort of deface it, and then I would try to get him to work some more on it, you know, and then I would work more on it. I would try to get him to do at least two things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because he likes to do just one hit, you know, and then have me do all the work after that.
So did you have rules like you couldn't actually paint over his stuff, or?
No, not at all. We used to paint over each other's stuff all the time.
Yeah.
The duo exhibited their work together in September 1985 when Warhol and Basquiat paintings opened at the Tony Shafrazi Gallery in Soho. However, the work was met with mostly negative reviews. Many of the critics claimed Warhol had used Basquiat to stay relevant. One New York Times critic wrote, quote, "The collaboration looks like one of Warhol's manipulations. Basquiat, meanwhile, comes across as the all-too-willing accessory." It's not fully understood if Jean felt bad that he let Andy down, or if he believed the press, and that Andy was actually taking advantage of him. Either way, Basquiat left New York hurt and depressed. Tragically, the two would never make amends.
Andy Warhol died last week.
1 week ago today, as he lay in a hospital bed following gallbladder surgery, Andy Warhol's heart stopped beating. His condition had been stable. No one had expected him to die.
Jean was absolutely devastated that he never had a chance to repair their relationship, and he went downhill after that. There was no one who could replace Andy. He was the one person that always seemed to be able to bring Jean-Michel back from the edge. The drug habit that Basquiat developed to cope with being thrust into fame began to spiral out of control. Jean is quoted saying, "They tell me the drugs are killing me, and I stop. And then they say my art is dead." His final show took place in New York City on April 1988. It often feels like many artists prophesized their future. The paintings in this show were dark and scary. In one painting, Basquiat scribbled "man dies" several times. He was in a bad frame of mind because he thought the press was gonna get him, and he was upset with his relationship with his father, who never gave him the validation he so badly craved.
I would say that I think that he was a bit lonely. We were having lunch at the Odeon, and Jean-Michel's dad was there with some businessmen. So he's like, "That's my dad over there." And he went up, he popped up and he bounced over, and he was with his friends, which was us, and his dad was with his friends. He's like, "Hey dad, how you doing? Look, I'm taking all my friends out to lunch. I'm successful, blah, blah, blah." And Jean-Michel came back with his tail between his legs. His dad kind of iced him. Those moments where I saw him, it just deflated him.
Jean knew he had a drug problem and didn't want to die, so he took a trip to Hawaii to get clean, but returned to New York just a couple months later, at the end of June.
Summer is a strange, it's a motherfucker in New York. It's hot. It's very lonely and empty in the summer.
On Friday, August 12, 1988, his late girlfriend Kelly Inman received a call from Kevin. Jean was going with him to a Run DMC concert that evening. She climbed the stairs to their upstairs bedroom, saw him sleeping, and decided not to disturb him. Kevin rang again 3 hours later, and she again climbed the stairs. This time, she found Jean unresponsive, lying in a pool of vomit. He died of a heroin overdose at the age of 27. The brilliant, intense life of a most remarkable artist, America's first truly important black painter, was over. He left behind over 1,000 paintings and drawings. lot of times the circumstances of someone's death can color their entire life, and that's unfortunate. Jean-Michel is often misunderstood because of the way he died, but when you look at the totality of his life, he was triumphant. He did more in his short life than most people will ever do. One of the real tragedies of both Warhol and Basquiat's death is that both could have been prevented. Andy had an incompetent nurse, and Jean did the classic thing that heroin addicts do who shoot up after a hiatus. He had no idea what his tolerance was anymore. The other real tragedy is that the duo wasted their healthy